Almost. All right. So now that I've hit record for YouTube purposes, this is Gratcher versus Arxino here in the finals. As I was just saying, Arxino feels a little favored here. He is running the fearsome version of the deck, not as many spells, so... but Gratcher does have things like Lore of the Depths, going to be able to turn on his mid-game a little bit faster. Jaw Hunters does get to challenge things like the Neverglade Collector we see coming out of Arxino. But yeah, Gratcher opening with the Jettison, going to be able to turn on the deep a little bit faster, but we have seen Gratcher struggle to hit deep in a quick enough manner to make the Sea Monster deck as effective, because we are not seeing any Maokai out of him. Feels like Gratcher just doesn't value that win condition. Terror of the Tides is a terrible pickup, as it is turn 3. We're quite a ways away from that card being any kind of relevant. It's not irrelevant, though, because Arxino does run a lot of 3 and 4 attack units, which will just get pushed through by that Terror of the Tides. But Arxino's continuing to curve out. We're going to see Jaw Hunters come down, which will trade onto the Callista pretty effectively, and it is just going to be a full swing out, pushing out the damage, saying, go ahead and block my Callista, see if I care. Pushes through the 4 damage anyway. Just a lot of aggression coming out of Arxino here. Gratcher, of course, did stumble on the Thorny Toad and the Dreadbloom Wanderer, so it kind of makes sense. Now we see the Beast below. About as good a turn 4 play as you could ask for. But just a pass out of Gratcher does know that Arxino is going to continue to develop the board here and wants to make his play accordingly. Looks like it will be the Grasp of the Undying seems a little weird to me, since there isn't anything that Gratcher can fire off next turn, like has no answer for the open attacks. Perhaps just thinking that Arxino is going to continue to develop and disrespect the board state that Gratcher has, so this might actually be a really heads-up play that we could see a punish for here. If Arxino doesn't go for the open attack, and he doesn't, yeah, it's going to be the Callista coming down again, which means Beast below gets to come down. And I do not think these Jettisons are getting us to deep this turn, but it's going to be another Callista going down the drain. Oh, actually, going to play for advantage this time instead of the health total. It does have the Withering Wail in hand, so it does have a little bit of life to gain back. Does still have a chance to rearrange the block and lock that one in, actually. Does mean that Callista's going to tick up, and one more damage pushes through. Not the biggest deal in the world. And now the Hapless Aristocrat going to come down. A little weird to me that the Hapless came down after the fact. You would have think that at 3 mana, there's nothing else Gratcher can throw out this turn. Might as well have gotten that down. It looks like Devourer of the Depths is going to come down onto the Callista. There's no Vile Feasts coming out of Arxino, as previously mentioned, so this Devourer would definitely get down. Instead, going to play the Abyssal Eye he picked up. Going to push through 2 damage, draw the card. Sorry, a little spotty on the commentary. Started to have a bit of a nosebleed, so just getting that situated. Sorry about that, everybody. Anyway, back to the match. Full attention focused. We're going to see a Jettison fired off. Just being mana efficient, I don't think it's actually getting him to deep this turn. He's at 25. Pretty far away. Checking the stats on this Callista. Only 11 life left for Gratcher. Does have the Withering Wail, which will take out 2 of these, and with 2 blockers, you have to feel like Gratcher's really not in any danger of dying this turn. But it is worth noting that Gratcher doesn't run any copies of Vengeance? That doesn't sound right. Let me find Gratcher's deck lists real quick, guys. Please be the right deck. It's not. This is a Frostbite deck. Here we go. There's got to be... Oh, no. Okay, so there are no copies of Vengeance in Gratcher's deck, so... He's actually in a... Has absolutely no answer to the Endure Atrocity combo, is kind of what I was getting at here. And it looks like a... Cool. What? Huh? I have... Oh, okay, so I think... No, that doesn't... So I think Arxino was trying to upgrade Callista with this Glimpse Beyond, but it doesn't save the Callista, and it also pushes through 1 less damage because you didn't wait until after combat. So unless Arxino has a third Callista in hand. That's the only reason I could think to go for something like that. Does still push through an amount of damage. And as previously mentioned, Gratcher doesn't have an answer for Endure Atrocity. But yeah, it just seemed like a weird glimpse beyond there. Could have gotten a lot of value actually, but just pulling the trigger a little bit too early, trying to force out the Callista upgrade. We're going to see another little bit of going down here. So yeah, Gratcher, I would have to assume that this Jettison puts him at deep. Which means that this Devourer of the Depths is going to be real impactful here, but with all the sea monsters not costing any less. Okay, so we are going to see Devourer down onto potentially the Cursed Keeper. It looks like that is going to be the target. Yeah, really not a lot out of Arxino that he can do here. There's the Hecarim. That's actually pretty scary. Yeah, we're going to see the Jettison fired off here. Oh, maybe not. Held back. Okay, no, it is going to be fired off. And I think that sends him deep. Yep, okay. So we're going to see a 7/7 Devourer of the Depths. Not that it's super impactful. Might get blocked by a 1/1 here, which makes really no difference since the Hecarim attack is going to fill up the board. As long as Arxino doesn't go for a play into an attack, which wouldn't make a lot of sense anyway, since you do already have 6 attackers. But the Devourer of the Depths could be devastating here if it comes down onto the Hecarim. And there's already a couple of fearsome attackers. There's actually... The Vile Feast pickup might save Gratcher here. I think he actually was in, like, a fair amount of danger without this Vile Feast pickup. He does have Salvage, so he still has, you know, a chance to find something like Grasp of the Undying or Withering Well. Withering Well would be absolutely insane here, I think. Yeah, I think that puts him at dead, so we're going to see the Vile Feast come out here. But if Arxino has something like a Atrocity, I'm pretty sure this is lethal. I don't think there's anything that Gratcher can draw off of this Salvage to save him. Maybe another Vile Feast? I think another Vile Feast would actually get it done. Okay, so we do see the Atrocity. This is going to be lethal if Gratcher can't find a Vile Feast. Okay, those aren't the cards he drew. Those are the cards that he missed. Okay. Atrocity's not going to do it. There's the Vile Feast. Wait, did he throw that onto the same Mist Wraith? Wait. He did. Oh, okay. That was just a... I don't know if Gratcher... I think Gratcher thought the Mist Wraith was the one getting thrown? That's like all I can think of. Or maybe he misclicked instead of throwing it onto the Frenzied Skitterer, but I have to assume that it was just a... Yeah, I think he thought the Mist Wraith was the one getting thrown at him. That's really unfortunate for Gratcher. Oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking. He found the right card and just misread the situation in some way. I don't know if it was the misclick or the misread onto what was getting atrocity'd. I know that the stack can get pretty confusing in this game. Just a bunch of blue lines intermixed amongst each other. It can be hard to see through. Yeah, Gratcher being a good sport about it at least, but a complete punt onto game one. Yeah, I think Gratcher would have taken complete control of the game from there as well, since the Hecarim would have been dead, both the 3/1s would have been dead. Yeah, I think Arxino was like completely out of gas there, so that's, oh my god, Arxino could just come back and win this one. On to the Mono Demacia, typically I believe is perceived to have a bad sea monster matchup. And then assuming it was the Karma Lux getting banned out, then I think... What was Gratcher's last deck? It's Frostbite Ezreal. I don't think you have a great Frostbite Ezreal matchup. It's not bad, but even with the punt from Gratcher, I think his lineup pairs very well into what Arxino has brought here. I do think there's a good chance that this Bannerman deck just gets 2-0'd. Certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but I didn't really think he was going to win that game either, and he did, so... And a couple of Dredgers to start things off, about as good as you could hope for. Even gonna have the salvage on turn 3. Gratcher might hit deep by like turn 5. Oh my gosh. And now with the Dreadbloom Wanderer, this is about as much toss as you could expect out of Gratcher here in the early game. But we did see a couple of, at least one Devourer of the Depths thrown away, and that is really the only answer for Unyielding Spirit. But so far, with a 20 life total and so much toss, I definitely have to feel like Gratcher's favored in this one. Unless, of course, we see another little misclick like that, but that's pretty unlikely. Gratcher, a solid player, has won 2 OLS in the past. We are here on the 4th one, which is OLS number 3, because we had a number 0. It was kind of a stress test run. It is what it is. And just going to be a pass. Yeah, Arxino failing to develop a board here. It feels really bad for the Demacia player. It's possible that his hand plays to it, or there's an Unyielding Spirit coming out here. And that is the case. This could get dicey. If that Lure of the Depths hits a... or if the Lure of the Depths hits Devourer of the Depths, then he can play it this turn. And with Arxino totally tapped out, there's no chance for something like a single combat, which would have to be the answer that you have, to come out. Instead, an Atrocity going to be the play. Not going to take the risk going to Atrocity instead. Set behind this Fiora a little bit. So the pass into the Unyielding Spirit turn. Okay, so I understand why he went for that play then. I think Lure of the Depths... You're really just looking for Devourer of the Depths, and there's a second one tossed away. There's almost no chance that these Lure of the Depths hit Devourer of the Depths now. We're going to see Jettison. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 Devourers thrown away, but Gratcher already deep. Does need to find a Nautilus to get these Devourers back into the deck. Otherwise, I think this Unyielding Spirited Fiora is going to take over the game. Arxino has to choose carefully how he wants to develop here. Gratcher on a low enough mana total that nothing is going to threaten this Fiora. This is kind of Arxino's time to go hog wild. Loyal Badger Bear, a pretty good start to going hog wild. I would imagine that this Vile Feast is going to come down onto this Dredgers to deny the Fiora attack. And while it is possible for Fiora to be the win condition against sea monsters, when she's sitting at 1 out of 4, all the way on turn 7, that's not how you want to get it done. And Atrocity is just another answer to this Fiora. But now with the board, Arxino at least able to pressure the life total as well. He's going to go for this. Hits the Devourer of the Depths instead of any of the Abyssal Eyes or Shipwreck Quarters. And yeah, this is probably going to be the Devourer onto the Fiora, unless there's a single combat. But actually, no, even then, a single combat's not enough. Because it'd only put the Devourer at 3 health because Fiora is damaged. I think the Unyielding Spirit isn't going to work out here. Devourer coming down. Concerted Strike does do it. Riposte Single Combat also does it. Like, there are answers out of Arxino, but unless it's Concerted Strike, it's going to have to be more than one card. Granted, this is the last Devourer of the Depths. Oh, Detain! Detain! Generally seen as an answer for the Unyielding Spirit, instead going to protect the Unyielding Spirit. Funnily enough, putting it on the Badger Bear instead of the Fiora. So until Gratcher finds a Nautilus, there are no more Devourer of the Depths in the deck. But with 2 down, we're going to see Shipwreck Quarter come out now. And Gratcher picks up another Vile Feast. So Nautilus now necessary to turn on this, to answer the Fiora, and that's because Nautilus will, 1, put Devourer of the Depths back in the deck, and 2, Nautilus's Riptide is one of the answers that Bilgewater does have to an Unyielding Spirited champion. But Gratcher's life total is not very high, and he has to continuously commit resources to playing around this Fiora. So while he's done a great job of that, the treasure trove off the top could give him the answer that he's looking for this Fiora. I feel like I don't even know who's favored here at this point. We do see Gratcher with the treasure trove could be a massive swing, but that's of course dependent on what comes out of it. With Arc Xeno on Mono Demacia, there's not anything he can do about it. We're just seeing Gratcher playing fast and loose with this life total. Of course, the 2 Lore of the Depths now starting to pay dividends for him. The treasure trove, I don't think the treasure trove can come out here. I think you have to play your either your Beast Below or your Dreadbloom Wanderer. If you play the treasure trove here, then Arc Xeno just go right back to combat. Dreadbloom Wanderer coming out, and this oh, and the Plateworm Egg picked up. So now Arc Xeno cannot go for another attack or something, playing something into an attack, something like a Cytherea the Bold to try and help close out the game around this spider. And actually going to pull the Shipwreck Hoarder instead of the Dreadbloom Wanderer. Theoretically, would have liked... Okay, so this actually... This makes a little bit more sense. It protects the Badger Bear from dying and the Devourer of the Depths coming back out, but I would like to... I'm also not sure why we didn't see... Oh, double riposte. Is that lethal? Gratcher doesn't have the mana for Vile Feast and Grasp of the Undying. He's just 1 short. I don't think this does it. That's 13. Oh, no, that does. It's 1. He lives with 1. Right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that... Oh, man. Not pulling the Dreadbloom Wanderer came to bite Arc Xeno in the ass, and now we potentially get to see Gratcher take this game back over. There's no over-the-top damage from Demacia. What you see is what you get. The treasure trove is going to get fired off here. And let's see what's inside. Ruination, War Mother's Call, back-to-back. War Mother's Call, with so few cards in deck, I think it might actually be fine. I think like a Ruination into a War Mother's Call could have a lot of value here for Gratcher. Because it's guaranteed to hit a Nautilus, and that gives you a better chance of, you know, drawing another Nautilus after the fact. It looks like he's considering the Plateworm Egg. Grizzled Ranger. Okay, so we see the Plateworm Egg. That's going to be 3 8/8 fearsome units. And with a lot of spells still, actually. A lot of units, too. Gratcher, I don't think Gratcher wins this turn, necessarily. But I'm pretty sure he's got the game. I don't think I've seen someone actually play Treasure Trove and then lose. I also don't think I've seen someone play Plateworm Egg and then lose. The Shipwreck Hoarder, a card that had been cut from a lot of Sea Monsters lists, now coming in and paying dividends. I think I used that phrase correctly. Yeah, so we're probably going to see the Nautilus come out off the top here. That's one of the only units left in the deck. Yeah, Nautilus going to upgrade. And this turns Nautilus' Riptide online. So any copies of Nautilus do get to come out here. Back-to-back, probably, actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just lethal once the Atrocity comes out. I'm so, alright, so even if you block, yeah, this is what, like 13 damage? It looks like he's even considering playing the Beast Below over top of the Dawn Speakers. Yeah, so we're gonna see Fiora come out, block the Nautilus. And it looks like, is back-to-back lethal? It looked like he was left at 7. I don't know if that's actually, no, this doesn't look like, yeah, okay, that's a -1. Okay, yeah, that's, Jesus, that's gonna be Gratcher. A Ranger's Resolve. That's nonsense. Oh my god. Both... Okay, so we've seen a punt from both players so far. This is a hell of a finals. We're going to pretend Gratcher won game 1 and Arxino won game 2 because that's kind of how it should have gone. I understand that he wanted... So I think the problem there was Arxino was thinking in 2 parts. He was thinking, first off, I don't want this, you know, unit to kill my Badger Bear and give him back the Devourer of the Death. And part 2 was I win the game. And because those 2 parts didn't line up, he didn't pull the Dreadbloom Wanderer all the way to the right to prevent the lifesteal, so Gratcher was able to live at 1. And then because he didn't throw the Detain onto the Fiora and instead threw it onto the Badger Bear, it just kind of like doubled up on that I shouldn't pull the lifesteal unit, and then Gratcher able to bring it back with a massive just treasure trove and plate worm, and this was something. Okay, so Jesus, how am I supposed to reset my mental on this? So a little bit of a reset on the mental. Now Arxino coming in, Demacia versus the Frostbite Ezreal that we've seen out of Gratcher a few times. Now previously, like way back when both these decks were in the meta, it was pretty reliant on how your Troop of Elnuks performed. And since Troop of Elnuks obviously not in this deck, I really don't know how to gauge the matchup. Generally, it feels like Demacia is favored. The removal from the Ezreal decks doesn't line up well onto the tools that Demacia has nowadays, like the Badger Bear and the Grizzled Ranger. Like, we're going to see this come out here, and that's actually not great for Gratcher. There's a lot of mid-range, higher-end units in the Demacia deck that you need specifically that Thermogenic Beam to get rid of. But it is a really good tempo play, and he really can't afford to play fast and loose with his life total, so I understand it coming out there. I'm not saying it's a misplay, I'm just saying it does feel bad when you have to use your Thermogenic Beams on things that aren't named Garen or Cithria the Bold. But so far, Gratcher doing a pretty good job of controlling the board. We're going to see a Fiora come down here. And because this is Frostbite Ezreal, you actually have an okay chance at getting through an Unyielding Spirited Fiora. You do have ways around it. You do have Frostbite effect. It's not unreasonable for Gratcher to be able to get this game around it. And if we see a pass out of Arxino here, then I think Gratcher's just going to open up with a Get Excited onto the Fiora. No longer really a consideration. Doesn't feel like he has to do that. Yeah, he's just going to pass. Okay, I like this a lot, actually, understanding that, like, there's a pretty decent chance that this Fiora is going to die to some form of removal. Let me just push through with the Badger Bear while I can. And Gratcher, I'm kind of curious as to what he's going to do with his mana here. Is going to be the Mystic Shot. Soften it up for the next turn. Could also just throw out Entreat, as long as... I think this Vi is at 3 out of 5 now, so he does need to play one more card. So it's not, like, out of the question for Entreat to come... Or, no, sorry. Now he no longer needs to play a card because it's at 2 health. Vi gonna be able to clean this one up. This is the turn where Garen comes out. But it shouldn't be too hard for Gratcher to take care of a Garen with the Vi. And I feel like this is part of the reason that Frostbite Ezreal has kind of come back. Is because Vi Ezreal is just a really good combination of cards. And then you're like, alright, well, I found my 2 champions. What's the third region... Or what's the secondary region that I want to run? And I guess Freljord's just the one that a lot of people are gravitating towards. It shores up some of the weaker matchups for this deck. A little surprised to see the pass out of Gratcher there. He did have the attack token. And Gratcher, once again, finding this double progress day. Not sure why he consistently finds himself with both copies of this card. Generally, you would think it's not great in this matchup, but he's had such a good string of early removal, and Vi is so valuable in this Bannerman matchup, which is why I didn't think that Arxino was really favored coming into this. Vi is just so hard for Demacia to deal with in any capacity, and I think Frostbite Ezreal probably has the best Demacia matchup. I don't actually want to say Frostbite Ezreal, I want to say Vi Ezreal. I don't think the secondary region is as impactful in this matchup. It does play around Unyielding Spirit nicely, but, you know, Ionia would have done the same, but Ionia PZ gets banned out pretty much every time, so I understand not wanting to pair those regions together and still having a pretty solid functional Ezreal deck. I think there's I don't think we see Frostbite Ezreal too much on ladder. I do think it is more of a tournament deck for that reason. You don't want to pair the power regions. I understand. And now a really wide board out of Arxino. Gratcher only going to have one playable card. It's either Get Excited or Static Shock. And this could be a lot of damage pushed through. I don't think there's a lot of reason to preemptively get excited here. If a Ranger's Resolve does come out, this could be disastrous. Yeah, there's the Ranger's Resolve. It's not like the Static Shock would have made a difference, and it's not like doing it now really made much of a difference either, to be fair. I think... with the Ranger's Resolve out now, I think we're going to see the Fleet Feather pull the Avarosan Sentry, yeah, like that, because Vi's going to be able to kill anything, and Sentry would have been able to block the Badger Bear. So now Vi still feels compelled to block the Badger Bear, because it's the biggest attacker, and that puts him at 1. Or not 1, it puts him at 4, rather. Yeah, basically he'll die if he doesn't block something. Okay, and it looks like he is going to play a little fast and loose. Once to set up the Static Shock for the next turn, Static Shock will be able to take out the Badger Bear and the Fleet Feather Tracker, so I do like this play. Getting to a low life total, but Xeno very low on cards, and now with an Ice Veil Archer as well, going to feel even better about this Static Shock. Does also have a lot of mana to play with, and a second Static Shock. That one a little less likely to find value, but he doesn't need to. This one is so valuable that I think it is backbreaking for Xeno here. And a Flash Freeze, yeah, just as Gratcher continues to pile up on the Frostbite effects, can't help but feel he's very favored here. Actually, even just going to throw out the Ice Veil Archer now. Yeah, there's no way for him to upgrade the Vi this turn, and that's what I was like going for after he had frostbitten something, but it is going to give him more opportunities to just continuously stack up advantages with this Vi, and playing like... Freljord feels like it's more of a Vi supporter region, it just lets you destroy these Mono Demacia decks. Yeah, I figure might as well throw out the attack with the Ice Veil Archer too. Nope, gonna pull it back. It says, never mind. I don't want to use the... If you do block, I don't really want to use the Flash Freeze. And now what comes out of Xeno as the response? Cytheria the Bold, pretty good start. Unfortunately, there is still a massive Vi on the board of Gratcher. He does have Progress Day in hand. Even gonna fire off the Static Shock. I kind of like not doing that, and then floating the 3 spell mana. It sets you up for Flash Freeze, Flash Freeze and Progress Day next turn. Xeno does have a bit of time to get back into this, not a lot, and it's dwindling every turn. Yeah, Grizzled Ranger, that's gonna meet Mr. Ice Veil Archer. Does take Gratcher off the Progress Day for the turn, but with a Flash Freeze, there's nothing to stop this Vi upgrade. That's strange to me. Okay, yeah, Xeno's hand fully on the table. Gratcher has enough frostbite effects that I'm hard pressed to imagine Xeno finding an opportunity to get through this last 3 damage. Actually, a little surprised not to see the Entreat come out here. Oh, okay, yeah, there's still attacks to be made. But Gratcher's got the goods. Actually feels compelled to block the Cytheria. Oh, yeah, it does have the Flash Freeze, so that makes sense. Might not even use the Harsh Winds here. Might just use the Flash Freeze onto the Cytheria. The Harsh Winds seems pretty likely, though, and I think it's going to go onto Cytheria and the War Chefs. I think that's the card that, yeah, just saving the Ice Veil Archer seems pretty reasonable here. The 2 life doesn't matter. As previously mentioned, like, it's going to be really hard for... Oh, okay. Never mind. Actually going to play conservatively with the life total. Nope. Nope. Okay. He's figuring it out. That one seems weird. I don't think it actually matters, huh? I mean, either way, 1 Ice Veil Archer surviving. I feel like he was just spiting me and going for the option that I didn't mention. It's the same result as doing it onto the War Chef. But now with this Vi upgraded and the Progress Day in hand, yeah, as previously mentioned, I don't think there's any way for Xeno to get through that one last bit of damage. Which is the whole point of a second Flash Freeze. This could not be getting any better for Gratcher. And I'm not sure how long it's going to take for this Vi to take over the game. I don't think it's very long. I think you do get to just challenge out a War Chef here and that push through 5 damage. There's nothing that Arxino could have that I can think of that's going to take you off this progress day. And there's no relentless pursuits or anything coming out of the deck. You feel pretty safe to do this. And even if there was, it'd just clear out the board. But if you went for the progress day, that is. Fiora, okay. Yeah, even Unyielding Spirit at this point doesn't feel like super impactful since there are so many Frostbite effects. Yeah, and there's the Ezreal pickup. And that's going to be all she wrote here. Gratcher probably going to move on as your 3-time champion. It feels a little preemptive to call, but I really think that he's had a solid control in this game for the last couple of minutes. Vi just really shines in this matchup. Yeah, going to see the Flash Freeze come down. No reason to block it. It would reset the attack. It's just kind of a waste of resources. The Ezreal going to come down. Oh, Jump Bomb going to come down instead. Yeah, I guess just going to wait until next turn to get this Ezreal out. Second Grizzled Ranger. That's probably going to be Ezreal coming out then. Or not. I mean, you're not like in any danger to throw out the Ezreal here, because if you throw it out, it's upgraded, right? So if Fiora attacks it, Grizzled Ranger attacks, you just Flash Freeze the Grizzled Ranger because you have a 2-mana Ezreal and a 2-mana Grizzled Ranger. Or a 2-mana Flash Freeze and a 2-mana Ezreal. So your Ezreal lives at 1 HP. Your opponent's at 10, and then you just fire off your 4 burst spells next turn and use the Get Excited to finish out the game. But yeah, it looks like this one completely out of the control of Arxino. Well fought by both competitors, but yeah, this was when I saw Demacia was the last deck, this kind of felt like the inevitable end result. I do think that the Frostbite Ezreal deck has a phenomenal Demacia matchup. Vi is so hard for Demacia to deal with, which is insane because like Demacia still sees so much play. But I understand, like, it's not often that we see Freljord get banned out in tournament lineups, so I do like that you pair PNZ with that, and then it just leaves you with like Karma, Lux, and Sea Monsters. Like, it's a very powerful lineup. Definitely a big fan. Gonna be something for me to look forward to in my next tournament breakdown video. Just the power of the Frostbite Ezreal. Of course, next tournament breakdown video comes out after the patch, and it's very possible that nothing in this deck gets touched. I do think Vi is going to get hit, but I'm running out of things to talk about because this game is over and has been for quite some time. Yeah, not a whole lot of reason to throw it at the Nexus, not a whole lot of reason not to. It does put your opponent at an odd life total, which is generally not what you want to see with Ezreal, but since you do have the Get Excited, it kind of makes up for it. And then 9, yeah, that's not enough mana to play every burst spell. But yeah, actually this is lethal because of the Vi damage coming through. So yeah, that's going to be Gratcher picking this one up 2-1. A little bit of a sloppy finish from a couple of players on a couple of plays, but overall that is going to be Gratcher coming back as your 3-time champion. Would be a 4-time, but he took off last time, so we can't fault him for that one. But that is going to be that. Congratulations to Gratcher. I've got to put my hat back on. Congratulations to Gratcher. That doesn't look very good. Congratulations to Gratcher for another first place OLS finish. Let me go ahead and end the stream here. Not this stream, but stop watching his, hang up the call because I was in Discord. All right, so thank you everybody so much for coming out and watching. This will be on YouTube by the morning, as you can see up there. Nope, up there, TCG Boulevard. You will be able to catch all the action in case you missed any of it, relive some of the highlight moments, and of course it will also be archived in my Twitch library for the next 60 days, something like that. If you want to come back and catch it before I do have a chance to upload it, it's totally fine. Don't really care about the views on the video as long as you get to catch the tournament action that you wanted to see. But that, once again, congratulations to Gratcher. Thank you to Zero Ishtar for running these events. Do appreciate it, buddy. My name is Boulevard. I've been your caster and your host for the evening. I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you for coming out and enjoying your Saturday night with me.